Hey guys, today we stand at a crossroads where your life splits into two possible paths. One path is the familiar one, the path of comfort, hesitation, and recycled routines. You know exactly how it feels, because you've walked it too many times before. The other path looks like fire. It looks dangerous. It feels uncertain. And it whispers to you that you might not be ready. But here's the reality check. You've already tested the safe route, and it led you right here, to this moment of searching for change. So the question isn't whether you're ready. The question is whether you're willing to finally burn the weak version of yourself and walk into the flames of transformation. You've carried the old self for long enough. The self that wakes up and negotiates with the alarm clock. The self that promises tomorrow will be different, but repeats the same patterns. The self that has dreams, but keeps shelving them for later. That person is a weight strapped to your back. You cannot carry both your vision and your excuses into the future. At some point, you have to set the torch to the old version of you and watch it burn until nothing recognizable remains. The first thing you must accept is that destroying the old self is not symbolic. It's literal in the way you treat your life. The mind clings to old habits, to old words, to the comfort of weakness. That is why you cannot politely outgrow the old you. You must annihilate it. If you half commit, the old identity will slip back in through your routines, your social circles, your self-talk. Think about it. How many times have you tried to improve while still keeping one foot in the old patterns? You've told yourself, I'll cut back, or I'll slowly phase this out. But what happens? The old self resurfaces. It whispers excuses. It convinces you to delay again. That's why burning the bridges is essential. So what does burning look like? It starts with honesty. You must stop lying to yourself about why you're stuck. The truth is not that life dealt you a bad hand. The truth is that you've tolerated your own laziness, your own distraction, your own weakness for too long. Every day you hit snooze. Every day you scroll instead of act. Every day you say later. You've been feeding the old you. That person thrives on hesitation, and you've been a generous host. But today, you stop feeding it. You decide that hesitation dies, excuses die, wasted time dies. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your life if you carry on exactly as you are for the next 10 years. Picture the mornings that look the same paycheck, the same body, the same relationships that feel half alive. Is that vision enough to scare you? Because it should. If the image of sameness doesn't disgust you, then you're not desperate enough yet. Real transformation begins with disgust, with being so tired of your old reflection that you refuse to see it another day. You have to ask yourself, what habits must die? For some, it's the habit of self-doubt, repeating the line, "I'm not good enough." For others, it's distraction, letting a glowing screen dictate their future. Maybe it's the comfort of being liked, of saying yes when your growth demands a no. Your old identity is made up of these routines, and every one of them must be burned. You can't pick favorites. You can't say, well, I'll keep this weakness because it's not too bad. Fire doesn't discriminate, and neither can you. Burning the old self means changing your relationship with pain. Your old self ran from discomfort. It whispered that pain was to be avoided. But if you want to become the kind of person who actually rises, you must run toward it. You must see pain as proof that you're shedding weakness. Every workout you almost quit. Every late night spent creating instead of scrolling. Every awkward moment of saying no to people who expect the old you. All of that is the fire refining you. The old self is fragile. It dies in the flames of discipline. Think about identity. Most people walk around as prisoners of labels: lazy, shy, inconsistent, average. These labels are chains, and they don't even come from truth. They come from years of small compromises, from teachers who doubted you, from friends who laughed at your ambition, from your own voice whispering failure before you even tried. Burning the old you means erasing every one of those labels. From today, you don't call yourself lazy because the new you acts with urgency. You don't call yourself average because the new you refuses average effort. You don't call yourself broken because the new you is building every day. There's a dangerous lie society sells you, that transformation is gradual, that you can change slowly, comfortably, without risk. But comfort doesn't create change. It preserves the old self. The moment of destruction is violent. It is a decision made in a split second. I will never return. And from that second, every action must align with your new standard. If you try to negotiate with your old self, it wins. If you leave one bridge unburned, you'll cross it back when times get hard. That is why you must burn completely. Burning the old you also means killing the need for permission. How many times have you waited for someone else to validate your decision to grow? You've looked for applause, for agreement, for encouragement. But the truth is, no one is coming to cheer for you at the start. They will not understand your fire. They will question it, mock it, even resist it. But this is not their journey. It is yours. You don't need permission. You need to act. The old you needed applause to move forward. The new you moves in silence and lets results speak. When you destroy the old you, expect grief. It sounds strange, but it's true. That old identity has been your companion for years, and your mind will try to cling to it, even when it's killing you. You will feel the pull of nostalgia, of old places, old people, old habits. You'll want to revisit them just one more time, but every time you look back, you risk stepping back into the ashes and rebuilding the person you swore to bury. Grieve the old self, acknowledge its death, and then walk forward without turning your head. You might be wondering, what if I fail at destroying the old me? That thought alone shows you how deep the old programming runs. Failure is part of the old script. The new script doesn't leave room for failure, only lessons. If you slip, you don't call it failure, you call it feedback. You adjust, you sharpen, you keep moving. The old self quit. The new self cannot. Imagine this as clearly as possible. You stand on one side of a burning bridge. Behind you is the life you've outgrown. In front of you is everything you say you want: strength, freedom, respect, self-mastery. The flames are rising, and there is no turning back. If you hesitate, you'll be consumed. If you run forward, you will survive. That's the decision point. That's the moment of rebirth. And here's the most powerful truth. You are not the old you anymore, not even now. The moment you decide, the old self is gone. From the instant you commit, you are someone else. It's not something you wait to feel. It's something you decide to embody. Identity isn't earned at the finish line. It's claimed at the starting line. Every thought, every word, every action from now on must align with the new identity. The way you wake up, the way you speak about yourself, the way you handle temptation. No detail is too small, because every detail votes for the person you are becoming. If you skip one workout, you cast a vote for the old you. If you delay one project, you cast a vote for the old you. But if you rise when you don't feel like it, if you act with discipline when comfort tempts you, then you cast a vote for the new you. Over time, these votes add up, and one day, the old you will be nothing but ash. You must understand this. Destruction is the beginning of creation. By burning the old you, you are not just ending weakness, you are making room for strength. Fire clears the forest, and in its place, stronger roots grow. You are setting fire to the undergrowth of excuses, and from the ashes rises a self you haven't even met yet. That is the purpose of destruction, not to lose, but to gain. So today, you burn. You burn every excuse you've ever repeated. You burn every delay, every hesitation, every self-doubt. You burn the labels, the lies, the comfort. You let the flames consume everything that held you back. And as the smoke rises, you step forward, not as who you were, but as who you have chosen to become. The fire is roaring, the bridge is gone, the old self is dead, and there is only one direction left: forward. You've taken the torch to the old self, and now the ashes settle. The bridge is gone, the excuses are gone, and the weak version of you is nothing but smoke in the rear view. But here's the catch. You're standing alone on the other side, and that's exactly where you need to be. Because solitude is not a punishment. It is the training ground where you discover who you truly are. Most people fear being alone. They panic at silence. They chase constant company. They drown themselves in noise just so they never have to hear the voice inside their own head. But you must do the opposite. You must walk alone. You must silence the outside chatter until the only voice left is yours, clear and undeniable. Greatness is not built in a crowd. It is forged in the quiet, where no one is watching. Think about it. How often have the voices of others dictated your choices? Friends, family, co-workers, even strangers online. They carry their doubts, their fears, their limitations, and without realizing it, you carry them too. One sarcastic comment, one dismissive laugh, one piece of unsolicited advice, and suddenly, your fire dims. You hesitate. You doubt yourself. You shrink back into the shadows. Walking alone removes that poison. When you strip away the influence of others, you see yourself without filters. The lone path is where you face the mirror. Alone. There are no distractions to hide behind. You see the habits you've ignored, the weaknesses you've denied, the fears you've run from. At first, it's uncomfortable, like being in a room with a stranger you barely know. But then you realize that stranger is you, the real you, the one you've avoided meeting because the noise of the world made it easy to look away. Walking alone forces the introduction. And here's the truth. The person you meet in solitude may not be the polished version you want to see. You might meet fear, insecurity, procrastination, all the shadows of the old self. But facing them is the first step toward defeating them. You cannot conquer what you refuse to confront. Solitude strips away the masks and makes you deal with the raw material of who you are. From there, you can rebuild into someone unshakable. Walking alone also teaches you responsibility. When no one is there to blame, no one to lean on, no one to rescue you, you learn that everything falls on you. If you succeed, it's because of your effort. If you fail, it's because of your decisions. That level of ownership is terrifying at first, but it's also liberating. Because if everything is your responsibility, then everything is also in your control. You are no longer a victim of circumstances or other people. You are the architect. Picture the greats. They all had seasons of solitude. The athlete who trained while the world slept. The entrepreneur who built in silence before anyone knew their name. The artist who practiced in obscurity before the masterpiece was ever unveiled. Their solitude wasn't a weakness. It was the secret weapon that allowed them to sharpen their craft without distraction. You don't see the lonely hours, but those hours are the foundation of greatness. And let's be clear, walking alone does not mean loneliness. Loneliness is a state of lack, of craving validation, of feeling incomplete without others. Walking alone is the opposite. It is fullness. It is freedom. It is choosing to be enough on your own. It's the difference between needing company to survive and enjoying company because you're already whole. When you master solitude, you become immune to manipulation. No one can dangle validation over your head because you don't need it. You begin to see how precious your energy is. Every conversation, every interaction, every person you allow into your circle, it all costs energy. Most people give it away carelessly, handing pieces of themselves to anyone who asks. But when you've spent time alone, you become selective. You realize your energy is currency, and not everyone can afford it. You stop giving access to people who drain you, who pull you backward, who wrap you in their chaos. Instead, you invest in people who sharpen you, who challenge you, who walk with their own fire. The strength of walking alone is that it builds mental toughness. When you rely on others, you stay soft. But when you learn to stand on your own, you develop an unshakable core. Hard times don't break you. They refine you, because you're not dependent on anyone else to carry you. You've already proven to yourself that you can survive, even thrive, without the noise of the crowd. That self-reliance is power no one can take from you. In silence, your vision sharpens. Without the constant static of opinions and distractions, you start to hear your own voice with clarity. You begin to see what you really want, not what others told you to want. You discover your true values, your true mission, your true fire. That clarity becomes your compass, guiding you even when the road gets rough. Understand this. Most people will not understand why you choose solitude. They'll question why you distance yourself, why you stop showing up to the usual places, why you seem quieter. They'll say you've changed, and they're right. You're no longer addicted to distraction. You're no longer chasing validation. You're building something they cannot see, something they won't understand until it's undeniable. Do not waste time explaining. Let your silence be your answer. And when doubts creep in, and they will, remind yourself that solitude is not forever. You walk alone now so that one day you can lead others. But leadership requires strength, and strength is built in the quiet, where no one claps, no one watches, and no one saves you. These are the hours that harden your resolve. These are the hours that make you unbreakable. So embrace it. Embrace the empty room, the quiet morning, the focused night. Embrace the moments when you feel like the only one who sees your vision, because you are. That's the point. The vision was given to you, not to them. And until you walk alone, you will never be strong enough to carry it. Alone. You discover that you don't just survive, you thrive. You sharpen your discipline, you harden your willpower, you learn to love your own company, and once you master solitude, you will never fear being alone again. Instead, you'll fear going back to the crowd, back to the noise, back to the distractions that once kept you weak. This is the paradox of walking alone. What feels like isolation at first becomes liberation. You stop needing approval. You stop fearing judgment. You stop hesitating. You walk with confidence, not because the world tells you to, but because you've proven it to yourself. Alone is where you become unstoppable. So step forward into solitude. Cut the noise. Silence the crowd. Walk your path with discipline and focus. And when the time comes, the world will see the results of what you built in the shadows. They won't understand how you became so strong, so clear, so untouchable. But you'll know. You'll know it was in the quiet, in the solitude, in the lonely hours where no one believed in you but you. That's where the transformation happened. Comfort has been your soft prison. It whispers to you every day, telling you to take it easy, to put it off until tomorrow, to choose the path of least resistance. And each time you listen, you chain yourself tighter to the old version of you. If the flames of transformation are to truly consume the weak self, then you must step directly into discomfort and stop treating pain as the enemy. The truth is simple. Comfort kills growth, and discomfort builds warriors. Think about how your body responds to exercise. If you only lift weights that feel light, your muscles never change. If you only run distances that feel easy, your endurance never grows. The body transforms through resistance, through pushing against weight that strains, through running until the lungs burn, through forcing adaptation. The mind is no different. If you live in comfort, your mental muscles shrink. If you hide from challenge, your spirit softens. But when you lean into struggle, you sharpen the edges of your character. Most people choose the easy path. They think success should feel smooth, natural, effortless. And when they encounter friction, they retreat, telling themselves they're not ready. That's why most people stay average. But you are not here to be average. You are here to crush comfort, to demolish the easy choices, to replace weakness with resilience. Every time you face discomfort head-on, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. Discomfort exposes excuses. When you're challenged, the old self resurfaces, whispering, "I'm too tired. I don't have time. I'll start tomorrow." But that's the exact moment you must press forward. If you give in, you feed the old self. If you resist, you starve it. Every decision you make in moments of discomfort is a vote. You either vote for the weak you, or you vote for the new you. No one else can cast that ballot. Understand this. Weakness is not something you're born with. Weakness is a habit. It is built one soft choice at a time. It's built every time you avoid the hard conversation, every time you scroll instead of study, every time you sleep in instead of train. Strength, too, is a habit. It is built one difficult choice at a time. Every time you step into discomfort, every time you endure instead of quit, every time you choose discipline over ease, you are building strength. Look around you. The people who inspire you, the people who achieve greatness, the people who lead. They did not get there by coasting through comfort. They got there by enduring. They leaned into pain. They embraced failure as a teacher. They faced rejection, defeat, setbacks, and they refused to crumble. They are not superhuman. They simply chose the path of discomfort again and again until resilience became second nature. The trap of comfort is that it feels safe. But safety is an illusion. While you sit in comfort, time passes, opportunities fade, regret grows. The comfort zone is not safe, it is deadly, because by avoiding struggle today, you guarantee suffering tomorrow. The pain of discipline lasts for a moment. The pain of regret lasts for a lifetime. Which one are you willing to carry? When you begin to embrace discomfort, you'll notice something. Your limits were lies. That voice in your head that says, "I can't," is not truth. It's conditioning. It's the old self defending its territory. But the moment you push past that voice, you see reality. You realize you can run farther, lift heavier, focus longer, endure more. You realize that the limits were never real. They were illusions, shattered the moment you stepped beyond them. Here's the shift. You must begin to seek discomfort on purpose. Don't wait for it to come to you. Create it. Wake up earlier than feels comfortable. Train harder than feels natural. Work longer than feels easy. Place yourself in situations that stretch you, challenge you, even scare you. Discomfort is the forge where the new you is hammered into existence. The more time you spend in that forge, the stronger you become. It's not just about the body. The mind is the true battlefield. You must kill procrastination before it kills your future. Every time you delay, you reinforce weakness. Every time you tell yourself later, you give your comfort zone another victory. Instead, act immediately. When the thought appears, move. Do it now. Break the habit of hesitation and replace it with the habit of action. Pain itself must be reframed. Pain is not punishment. It is feedback. It tells you where you are weak, where you must grow. When your body aches after training, it's proof that you pushed beyond your limits. When your heart stings from rejection, it's proof that you took a risk. When your mind feels exhausted from focus, it's proof that you resisted distraction. Pain is evidence of progress. Instead of running from it, learn to thank it. And remember, the world respects those who endure. Everyone admires resilience, but few practice it. They admire the athlete who suffers through grueling practice. They admire the leader who rises after setbacks. They admire the fighter who refuses to stay down. What they don't see is that every one of those victories began with a choice: to crush comfort and embrace pain. That same choice is in front of you every day. So from now on, when you feel discomfort, smile. Let it remind you that you are exactly where you should be. Discomfort is the sign that you are no longer the old you. It is proof that you are walking into strength, proof that you are growing. The easy path leads nowhere. The hard path leads to everything you want. The next time you're tempted to choose ease, pause. Ask yourself, who am I voting for right now? Am I voting for the weak me who settles, or the strong me who endures? Choose strength. Choose the path that makes you sweat, struggle, and stretch. Because that's where the new you is waiting. The old you fed on comfort. The new you feasts on challenge. The old you ran from pain. The new you uses pain as fuel. The old you settled for average. The new you demands greatness. So crush comfort. Step boldly into the hard, the painful, the uncomfortable. Because only there will you discover how unbreakable you truly are. The battlefield has shifted. You've burned the old self, stepped into solitude, and learned to embrace discomfort. But if your external actions are on fire, while your internal programming stays frozen in weakness, your transformation will never last. This is where the true war begins, not against your environment, but but against your own mind. Because the truth is, your mindset is the operating system of your life. If it's corrupted, nothing else works. If it's rewired, everything changes. Right now, you are living with mental scripts you didn't even choose. From childhood, you absorbed beliefs about what was possible, about who you are, about where your limits lie. You heard people say, "That's not realistic. Don't get your hopes up. Some people just aren't meant for more." And you believed them. Those beliefs became programs running in the background, shaping your choices without your awareness. The old you is nothing more than the sum of those programs. If you want to rebuild yourself, you must delete them and install something new. The old mindset whispers defeat before the fight even starts. It says, "I can't." It says, "I'm not ready." It says, "This is too hard." And because you repeat those words, your brain believes them. Every time you speak limitation, your subconscious locks it in as truth. But the mind doesn't care if it's true or false. It only cares what is repeated. That means you can poison your brain with weakness, or you can feed it strength until strength becomes the default. This is where you begin to reprogram. The first step is awareness. You must catch the weak thoughts the moment they surface. Pay attention to the words you speak to yourself in silence. Are they the words of someone building an empire, or the words of someone still clinging to chains? The old programming thrives on autopilot. You kill it by shining light on it. The second step is challenge. Don't let a single limiting belief pass unexamined. Ask yourself, who told me this? Where did I learn it? Is it fact, or is it fear? You'll realize that most of the beliefs holding you back are inherited illusions, not reality. The person who once told you you can't was only revealing their own limitations. Why would you continue living under their shadow? The third step is replacement. You cannot simply erase, you must install. Every time the old self says, "I always fail," you replace it with, "I am learning faster every day." When it says, "I'm not good enough," you replace it with, "I am becoming stronger, sharper, more disciplined." These are not empty affirmations. They are mental reprogramming commands. Speak them long enough, and your subconscious rewires to match. Visualization is your next weapon. The brain does not fully distinguish between what is imagined and what is real. If you picture yourself as weak, you will act weak. But if you repeatedly see yourself as powerful, disciplined, and unstoppable, your brain begins to make that image a reality. Close your eyes and see yourself conquering the challenges you once avoided. See yourself standing taller, acting faster, speaking with authority. Your mind accepts what it sees, and your body follows. But mindset is not only about thought. It must be anchored in action. You cannot think like a champion and live like a quitter. You cannot say, "I am disciplined," and then hit snooze. The new identity must align with your behavior, or else the old programming survives. That means every decision, even the smallest, is a chance to reinforce your mental rewiring. You say you're strong. Prove it when the weight feels heavy. You say you're consistent. Prove it when you don't feel like working. Identity is not a dream. It's a discipline. Failure itself must be rewritten in your mind. The old self feared it, avoided it, took it as proof of inadequacy. But the new mindset sees failure as fuel. Every mistake is data. Every loss is a lesson. Every setback is a stepping stone. The faster you fail, the faster you learn, and the faster you grow. Winners don't fear failure. They embrace it because they know each one is a spark in the fire of transformation. The key is commitment. Reprogramming your mind cannot be a part-time task. It is not something you do when it's convenient. It's an all-day, everyday discipline. Every thought, every word, every action must align with the new script. You cannot allow the old program to run even for a moment, because the old self is always waiting to reclaim ground. This requires vigilance, persistence, and obsession. But the reward is total control over the most powerful weapon you have, your mind. Cut out negativity like it's poison, because it is. The old mindset feeds on negative input, news designed to scare you, content designed to distract you, people who love to complain. Every time you consume it, you are reinforcing weakness. Replace it with fuel, books that sharpen you, mentors who stretch you, content that ignites you. Guard your mind like a fortress, because what enters becomes who you are. The transformation you seek cannot happen without mental reprogramming. You've already burned the old self, but the ghost of its mindset will haunt you unless you replace it. That is why this step is not optional. It is essential. You are not your past thoughts, but you are shaped by the thoughts you allow to repeat. Repetition is how beliefs are built. Repetition is how beliefs are destroyed. So from this moment, you speak strength. You think strength. You act strength. You refuse to give weakness even one word of oxygen. You erase the old program and install the new one line by line, habit by habit, decision by decision. This is how you become unstoppable, not by dreaming, but by rewriting the very code of your mind. The old mindset dies here. The new one begins now. Your environment is a mirror. Whether you realize it or not, the people around you, the habits you repeat, and the messages you allow into your mind are shaping your destiny. If your environment is polluted with negativity, then no matter how strong your intentions, you will find yourself dragged backward. To rebuild yourself, you must cut off negative influences completely, not reduce them, not manage them, but eliminate them like a disease. Negativity is contagious. Spend time around complainers, and soon you'll hear your own voice echoing their complaints. Stay close to people who doubt themselves, and you'll start doubting your own potential. Absorb constant gossip, constant criticism, constant fear-mongering, and you'll notice your mind becoming anxious and heavy. It's not magic, it's math. Your identity is the average of the influences you consume, and if that average is toxic, your growth suffocates before it even begins. The old you tolerated negativity. You said yes when you should have said no. You kept the same draining friends because it felt easier than leaving. You entertained conversations that chipped away at your focus. You scrolled endlessly through noise that offered nothing but distraction. That version of you is gone now. The new you must be ruthless. If someone poisons your energy, they are cut off. If a habit weakens your mind, it is destroyed. If a piece of content feeds fear and doubt, it is deleted. Some will call this cold. They'll say you've changed, and they're right. Because the truth is, you cannot grow in soil that is poisoned. If the ground is filled with toxins, no seed will survive. And your mind, your goals, your vision, they are seeds. They deserve clean soil. You do not apologize for choosing growth over poison. Look at your circle. Who do you spend the most time with? Do they push you forward or pull you backward? Do they challenge your excuses or do they encourage them? Do they celebrate your discipline or mock it? If the answer is anything less than forward, less than challenge, less than support, then they are not your people. You are under no obligation to carry dead weight. This doesn't mean you hate those you leave behind. It means you protect yourself. You set boundaries. You understand that growth requires distance from those who refuse to grow. If they are not aligned with your future, they cannot walk with you into it. This is not cruelty. It is clarity. Negativity doesn't only wear human faces. It seeps through the devices in your hand. Every scroll, every click, every headline is programming your mind. The question is, programming it with what? Fear, outrage, envy, or strength, wisdom, and focus. Most of what passes for entertainment is nothing more than slow poison. Every hour you give it, you train your brain to crave distraction, to normalize weakness. You must detox, remove every feed, every channel, every source that leaves you feeling smaller, not greater. And notice how negativity disguises itself. Sometimes it comes wrapped in concern. People will say things like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Or, "That sounds risky," or, "Don't push yourself too hard." On the surface, it sounds caring, but underneath, it's fear. Their fear. They are not protecting you. They are projecting their own limits onto you. And if you accept it, their fear becomes your future. That's why you must cut it off, even when it comes from voices you once trusted. Understand this. Cutting off negativity is not just subtraction, it is multiplication. The moment you remove the voices that drain you, your energy doubles. The moment you stop feeding your brain garbage, your clarity sharpens. The moment you distance yourself from toxic circles, your confidence skyrockets. Negativity doesn't just slow you down, it steals your fuel. Without it, you accelerate at a speed that shocks even you. But here's the catch. You will be tested. The moment you start distancing yourself, the negative influences will fight to pull you back. Friends will guilt trip you. Family may misunderstand you. Co-workers may mock your discipline. They will accuse you of arrogance, of thinking you're better than them. Do not take the bait. You do not owe explanations. Your growth is not up for debate. Stay firm. Stay silent. Stay moving forward. You are not here to save everyone. That was the old you, the one who stayed stuck out of guilt, the one who kept giving energy to people who refused to change. The new you understands that your first responsibility is to yourself. Only when you are strong can you lift others. But if you let yourself drown in their negativity, no one is saved. Cutting off negativity also means confronting your own habits. How much of your time is spent on activities that leave you drained instead of strengthened? Procrastination, endless scrolling, junk food, mindless consumption. They may feel harmless, but they are self-inflicted negativity. They steal your energy just as much as toxic people. Rebuilding yourself requires replacing every one of those habits with something that fuels you. Exercise, reading, creating, learning. Every choice must build, not break. And yes, at first, this cut will feel brutal. You may find yourself with fewer friends, fewer conversations, fewer distractions. But remember this, you are not losing. You are clearing space. Space for the right people. Space for the right influences. Space for the new identity you are building. Negativity thrives in crowds. Growth thrives in clarity. Protect your energy as if your life depends on it, because it does. Every thought you allow into your mind becomes part of who you are. Every voice you listen to becomes part of your identity. Every habit you repeat builds the foundation of your future. If you do not guard that foundation, it will crumble. So, make the cut. Block the noise. Distance yourself from the doubters. Replace poison with fuel. Surround yourself with strength. And when negativity tries to creep back in, and it will, you stand firm. Because your future is worth more than their drama. Your destiny is worth more than their comfort. Your vision is worth more than their approval. The old you tolerated poison. The new you drinks only strength. You've stripped away negativity and walked into solitude. But now comes the foundation that will either carry your transformation forward or let it crumble beneath you. Your routine. Because no matter how much fire you feel in your chest, no matter how loudly you tell yourself you've changed, if your daily habits remain weak, the old you will creep back. Discipline lives in the structure of your days. Without it, you drift. With it, you dominate. Let's face it, the old you lived on chaos. Mornings began with a screen in your face before your feet even hit the floor. Nights ended with distractions instead of preparation. In between was a blur of reacting instead of creating. That life was not random. It was designed by habits you tolerated. And that's why destroying the old you must include building an unbreakable routine. Routine is the backbone of freedom. People think discipline restricts them, but the truth is the opposite. When your days are structured, you are no longer at the mercy of moods, impulses, or distractions. You don't wake up asking, "What should I do today?" You wake up knowing that clarity saves energy, and that energy becomes fuel for growth. It begins in the morning. The first hour of your day is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. If you wake up late, scroll, and stumble into your obligations, you've already lost control. But if you wake up with intention, move your body, feed your mind, and set your focus, you've won before the world even catches up. The saying is true: win the morning, win the day. Do not complicate your routine. The old you made things complex as an excuse to quit. The new you keeps it simple, sustainable, repeatable. Consistency beats intensity. Anyone can go hard for a week. Few can stay steady for years. That steadiness is what builds transformation. One disciplined day may feel small, but stack 1,000 disciplined days, and you are unrecognizable. Track your routine. Most people drift because they never measure. They think they're improving, but in reality, they're repeating the same half-hearted patterns. Write it down. Use a journal, a planner, an app. It doesn't matter, as long as you see it. What gets measured gets improved. And when you see progress written in front of you, you fuel your motivation to keep going. Your routine must guard against distractions. The old you surrendered to every notification, every ping, every trivial demand on your attention. That was weakness. The new you designs the day like a fortress. Silence the noise. Schedule deep work. Protect your focus, because every stolen minute is stolen progress. You cannot afford to bleed energy on things that don't matter. And let's talk about evenings. Too many people end their days with chaos, then wonder why they wake up unfocused. Your night is the launch pad for your morning. Reflect on the day. Prepare for tomorrow. Disconnect from the noise before bed, so your sleep fuels you instead of draining you. A strong morning begins with a disciplined night. Your routine is not negotiable. If you treat it as optional, weakness will win. Discipline must become your identity. You don't ask yourself if you feel like showing up. You show up because that's who you are. That's the difference between the old you and the new you. The old you asked, "Do I feel motivated?" The new you says, "It doesn't matter how I feel. I execute." But here's the truth. Building a routine isn't glamorous. It's not exciting. It's repetition. It's doing the same small actions every day until they become automatic. And that's why most people fail. They crave novelty, not mastery. But the new you is different. You understand that greatness is built in the boring hours, the quiet consistency, the moments when no one is watching. Avoid overloading your schedule. The old you tried to do everything at once and then collapsed. The new you focuses on what matters most: health, discipline, creation, progress. You don't need 20 habits. You need a handful of powerful ones executed relentlessly. Quality over quantity. Focus over frenzy. Never miss twice. Life will test you. Emergencies happen. Schedules break. Days slip. Missing once is human. Missing twice is a choice. If you fall, you get back up immediately. That rebound is what separates disciplined people from the rest. Weakness compounds if you let it. Strength compounds when you stop it in its tracks. Your body is part of the routine. Sleep, nutrition, exercise. They are not extras. They are the engine. You cannot build a strong mind in a weak body. Take care of it like your future depends on it, because it does. Energy is everything, and your habits determine whether you run on fire or fatigue. Understand this. Your routine is your blueprint. It will either design your success or guarantee your stagnation. You can claim to want transformation all day long, but your calendar will expose the truth. Look at your hours. Are they invested in growth or wasted in weakness? That is the real scoreboard. When your routine becomes unbreakable, you stop relying on motivation. You stop hesitating. You stop asking for inspiration. You simply execute. Day after day, week after week, year after year. And when the world looks at you and wonders how you became so focused, so disciplined, so unstoppable, you'll know the answer. It wasn't luck. It wasn't talent. It was routine. So build it, protect it, master it, and let it become the silent engine that drives your transformation for the rest of your life. Your routine is the skeleton, but now you must master the blood that runs through it, your emotions, because you can build a strict schedule. You can wake up early. You can stack habits like bricks. But if your emotions rule you, the old you will find its way back through cracks in your armor. Discipline is not only what you do with your time, it is how you control yourself when the storm inside you tries to take the wheel. Think back to the old you. How often did anger make you say words you regretted? How often did fear stop you from acting? How often did laziness convince you to delay, to soften, to skip? That was not logic speaking. That was emotion. And emotion, when left unchecked, will sabotage everything. The strongest people are not those who feel nothing. They are those who feel everything, but refuse to let feelings dictate their actions. Emotional control begins with awareness. You cannot fight what you refuse to see. When you feel anger rise, don't react. Observe. When fear whispers, don't run. Listen. When apathy crawls in, don't surrender. Call it out. The act of noticing already weakens the grip. The old you was a slave to impulses. The new you becomes a commander who acknowledges them without bowing down. Self-discipline is forged in these moments. It's not built when you're inspired and motivated. It's built when you are exhausted, frustrated, or unmotivated, and yet you move anyway. True discipline is doing what must be done regardless of mood. That's why most people fail. They wait to feel ready. But readiness is a lie. Winners act. Then the feeling follows. Patience is another blade in this arsenal. Growth takes time. Results rarely arrive when you want them to. If you let impatience consume you, you will quit before the breakthrough. The old you needed instant gratification. The new you accepts delayed reward. You plant seeds today, knowing the harvest may take months, years, even decades. And while others complain about waiting, you sharpen your craft in silence, knowing that discipline always pays interest. Control also means silence. Not every battle deserves a reaction. The old you wasted energy in arguments, defending yourself, trying to prove a point. The new you knows restraint. Silence often speaks louder than rage. Calmness disarms. Composure confuses. When you stay unmoved while others lose control, you win twice. First over them, then over yourself. Temptation is another battlefield. Distractions disguised as pleasure will always surround you. Food that numbs, screens that waste, people who tempt you into laziness. Weakness says yes, discipline says no, and every no builds a fortress around your future. Remember, your emotions will always try to seduce you into short-term comfort, but long-term greatness is bought by those who refuse to be seduced. The strongest minds treat emotions as tools, not masters. Fear can sharpen focus. Anger can fuel drive. Sadness can deepen perspective, but only if you control them. Otherwise, they control you. That's the difference between falling apart in the face of struggle and using the struggle to grow. Your response is always your choice. Life will test you. People will provoke you. Circumstances will blindside you. But nothing forces you to react without control. The old you blamed everything around them. The new you accepts that discipline is internal. No one can control your choices but you. Think about how freeing that is. When you master your emotions, criticism cannot shatter you. Rejection cannot define you. Failure cannot stop you. You become immune to the turbulence of life because your anchor is within. That's power no one can take. But remember, discipline is not perfection. You will slip. You will react. You will feel overwhelmed. The key is not never falling, but never staying down. The old you spiraled after mistakes. The new you resets immediately. One bad moment does not become a bad day. One bad day does not become a bad week. Control means getting back up faster each time. The world is filled with people ruled by impulses, scrolling endlessly, eating mindlessly, lashing out thoughtlessly. They live like puppets, their strings pulled by emotion. But not you, not anymore. You are cutting those strings. You are learning to act from principle, not impulse, from discipline, not desire. That is the mark of a leader. Every time you resist temptation, you strengthen your will. Every time you hold silence when anger burns, you grow sharper. Every time you move forward when laziness screams, stop, you sharpen your blade. Discipline is not a single act. It is the accumulation of 1,000 quiet victories over yourself. So remember this, your emotions are loud, but they are not law. You decide, and every choice you make in the heat of feeling is another brick in the fortress of the new you. Control yourself, and nothing can control you. The self you once carried was built on labels. Maybe you called yourself lazy, shy, unfocused, unlucky, undisciplined. Maybe others gave you those names, and you accepted them as truth. But labels are not destiny. They are illusions, chains that bind you only if you choose to wear them. To rebuild yourself, you must reinvent your identity from the ground up. Not patchwork, not halfway, but complete reinvention. The old you is not a permanent fact. It was a collection of habits, stories, and choices. Change those, and you change who you are. Identity is not fixed, it is fluid. And the greatest mistake most people make is believing that because they were one way yesterday, they must remain that way today. But you are not your past. You are the architect of your future. Reinvention begins in the mind. The old you thought in circles. I've always been this way. I can't change. It's just who I am. That script must be burned. Replace it with, I can redefine myself at any moment. I am not trapped by my history. I am creating a new story now. This is not wishful thinking. It is a conscious rewriting of identity. Identity is built through repeated action. If you want to become disciplined, you practice discipline until it becomes automatic. If you want to be confident, you act confident until it feels natural. If you want to be resilient, you endure until resilience is your default. Who you are is simply who you train yourself to be. Think of actors who play a role so convincingly that they begin to feel it in their bones. You must do the same, except the role is not fake. It is the future you. At first, it feels strange, even like you're pretending. That's normal. The old you will resist, whispering, "This isn't really you." But the truth is, identity is built through action, not memory. The more you act as the new you, the more natural it becomes, until one day, the old self feels like a stranger. The environment you keep must reflect your reinvention. If you want to be focused, don't linger in circles of distraction. If you want to be strong, don't spend your days surrounded by weakness. Your surroundings must mirror your new self, not your old one. That may mean letting go of people who refuse to respect your growth. It may mean leaving places that trigger old habits. Reinvention demands sacrifice, because you cannot carry yesterday into tomorrow. Your language shapes identity. The old you said, "I can't. I'm bad at this. I'll never change." Those phrases built walls around your potential. The new you speaks differently. I am capable. I am improving. I am becoming unstoppable. Say it often enough, and your brain begins to believe it. Speak with strength, and strength becomes your nature. Every action you take is a vote. Skip the workout, and you vote for the old you. Train anyway, and you vote for the new you. Waste time on distractions, and you feed the past. Focus and execute, and you feed the future. You are voting all day long, so be intentional about who you're electing to live inside you. Reinvention is not just external. It's not about clothes, status, or image. Those are shallow changes. True reinvention begins within. It's how you see yourself, how you think, how you respond under pressure. You are not changing for appearances. You are changing for permanence. Expect resistance. The old identity will not go quietly. It will tempt you to return, whispering that you're faking it, that it's easier to stay the same. People around you may resist too. They may laugh, doubt, or remind you of who you used to be. But their memories do not define your reality. You define it. And the only answer you owe them is proof through consistency. Reinvention is uncomfortable. You are stepping into the unknown, walking without a script, building habits that feel foreign. But discomfort is proof of progress. If it feels strange, it means you are breaking free from the mold. That awkwardness is the sound of transformation. Your self-image dictates your reality. See yourself as weak, and you act weak. See yourself as powerful, and you begin to embody power. The key is to believe before evidence appears. The world won't recognize your transformation at first. Don't wait for validation. Act as the new you until your results make it undeniable. There is no final version of you. Reinvention is lifelong. The moment you decide you're finished, stagnation begins. You must keep evolving. Keep shedding the skin of the old. Keep stepping into higher versions of yourself. Each reinvention is a step closer to the limitless potential within you. So strip off the labels. Break the mold. Build the identity you choose, not the one you inherited. Erase the story of who you were and write the story of who you will be. Every choice, every habit, every word is a brushstroke on that canvas. Create boldly. Create relentlessly. Create the version of you that your old self could never imagine. No one is coming. That truth can either terrify you or set you free. For the old you, it was an excuse. You waited for someone to motivate you, to rescue you, to hand you opportunities. But waiting kept you stuck. The new you must embrace the art of self-reliance, because only when you stop depending on others will you unlock the strength to stand unshaken. Dependence weakens. Think of how the old you operated, waiting for the right conditions, leaning on approval, craving validation. You believed progress depended on external permission, but the reality is harsher and simpler. No one will ever care about your growth as much as you do. No one will lose sleep over your unfulfilled potential. That responsibility is yours alone. Self-reliance means becoming your own leader. You stop asking, "Who will guide me?" and instead ask, "How can I guide myself?" You stop waiting for instruction and start creating direction. The strongest people in history were not handed blueprints. They drew their own. And each time they acted without permission, their confidence multiplied. When you rely on others for approval, you give them power over your destiny. If they clap, you move forward. If they doubt, you hesitate. That is slavery. The new you refuses to let another person's opinion control the throttle of your life. You decide the pace. You decide the standard. You decide the mission. Self-reliance is also self-trust. The old you second-guessed every decision, hesitated until opportunities slipped away, and sought endless advice to avoid responsibility. But growth requires ownership. You will make mistakes. You will stumble. But each time you correct yourself, you become sharper, wiser, more capable. That resilience cannot be outsourced. It can only be built by choosing to trust yourself. Resourcefulness is another muscle of self-reliance. When life throws obstacles, do you crumble and cry for help, or do you adapt and find a way? Weakness waits for rescue. Strength creates solutions. Every problem is a test asking, will you lean on others, or will you build the skill to handle this alone? Each time you solve it yourself, you reinforce the truth. You are capable of far more than you believed. Even your emotions demand self-reliance. If your happiness depends on approval, you will always be fragile. If your confidence depends on applause, you will always be insecure. True strength is internal. It is the ability to say, even if no one believes in me, I believe in me. Even if no one supports me, I will support myself. That's not arrogance. That's independence. You must also embrace solitude as part of self-reliance. Alone time terrifies most people because they cannot face themselves without distractions. But when you rely on your own presence, you discover that solitude is not emptiness. It is freedom. In silence, you uncover clarity, purpose, and direction that crowds can never give. Self-reliance does not mean rejecting help. It means not needing it. You can accept support without being dependent, just as a fortress can accept reinforcements without collapsing if they never arrive. The difference is subtle, but vital. Dependence makes you weak. Independence makes you free. Failures will test this principle. When things collapse, the dependent person looks for someone to blame. The self-reliant person looks for what can be built from the rubble. That shift alone separates those who stay broken from those who rise stronger. Ask yourself, how many times has the old you delayed action because you wanted someone to believe in you first? How many times did you wait for advice you already knew, or for courage you hoped someone else would give you? That waiting is over. The new you doesn't wait. It decides, acts, adjusts, and grows. The world rewards those who act. Every day you hesitate. Someone else moves. Every day you seek permission. Someone else creates. And when you finally wake up, you wonder why they're ahead. The answer is simple. They trusted themselves while you waited. The lesson is clear. Stop waiting. Start building. Self-reliance also makes you untouchable. If you depend on others for money, approval, or direction, they can manipulate you. But when you've built your own foundation, skills, discipline, focus, no one can pull it away. That independence is true freedom, and freedom is power. Remember this. Excuses destroy self-reliance. Every time you say, "I can't because," you hand your strength to circumstance. The self-reliant person asks, "How can I?" That one question shifts everything. It takes the power out of the world's hands and places it back into yours. The old you was a passenger, waiting for life to drive. The new you is the driver, gripping the wheel with both hands, accepting responsibility for every turn. That responsibility is heavy, but it is also liberating. Because once you own everything, no one can take anything. So stop waiting for rescue. Stop seeking constant reassurance. Stop delaying for permission. Rely on yourself. Build your own foundation. And when storms come, and they will, you will stand unbroken. Because your strength no longer depends on anyone but you. Pain. Most people run from it, but you can't afford to. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher, your forge, your fuel. If you want to destroy the old you and rebuild into something stronger, you must learn the art of turning pain into power. Because the truth is simple. No one grows in comfort. Every ounce of progress you will ever earn is purchased through discomfort, struggle, and pain. Think back to every turning point in your life. Did it come from ease, or did it come after heartbreak, failure, rejection, exhaustion? Pain is the spark of transformation, yet the old you treated it like poison, something to avoid at all costs. That avoidance is why you stayed soft. The new you must flip the script. Pain is not punishment. It is proof that you are alive, proof that you are evolving. When the weight of struggle presses down, you have two choices. You can let it crush you, or you can let it mold you. The same fire that melts weak metal hardens steel. The same hardship that breaks the ordinary strengthens the extraordinary. Your choice in those moments defines which one you will become. You must stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" Every setback hides a lesson. Every disappointment exposes a weakness. Every failure reveals a blind spot. Pain is feedback, and feedback is power, if you listen. But if you waste pain by complaining, by numbing, by distracting yourself, you rob yourself of the lesson that could make you unstoppable. Look at the strongest people in the world, not just physically, but mentally. Athletes, leaders, visionaries. They all share one trait. They have suffered. They have endured rejection, ridicule, setbacks, long nights, heavy losses. But instead of quitting, they used pain as fuel. They turned heartbreak into hunger. They turned failure into fire. They turned suffering into strength. That is not luck. It is a choice you must make as well. Discomfort is the gateway to greatness. The old you lived inside the comfort zone, and that's why nothing changed. You avoided difficult conversations, avoided hard work, avoided taking risks. Comfort felt safe, but it was a trap. It quietly killed your potential. The new you must seek discomfort like a warrior seeks battle, because every time you endure, you expand. Every time you suffer, you sharpen. Every time you push past comfort, you step closer to the unbreakable version of yourself. Pain also teaches resilience. Life will never stop testing you. Storms will come, losses will sting, people will betray, failures will mount. If you crumble every time, you will never last. But if you endure, if you refuse to break, your tolerance for struggle grows. And the more you can tolerate, the further you can go. The old you wanted the reward without the struggle. But greatness doesn't work like that. There is a price for everything worth having. The price is pain. The question is not whether you will face it. The question is whether you will use it or waste it. Understand this. Pain is temporary. It feels endless when you're inside it, but it always passes. Regret, on the other hand, is permanent. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. You must decide which you will carry. And don't forget, your pain has purpose beyond yourself. The struggles you endure can become a blueprint for others. When you rise from hardship, your story becomes fuel for those still trapped in it. Your scars are not weaknesses. They are symbols of survival. They prove you've been tested and chosen to grow. So lean into the fire. Let the struggle burn away the weakness. Let the failures sharpen your focus. Let the pain carve out the strongest version of you. Stop fearing it. Stop numbing it. Stop running from it. Use it. Because every moment of suffering you survive is proof that you are tougher than the old you ever imagined. The new you does not waste pain. The new you turns it into power. Talent is a gift, but it is not enough. Intelligence is useful, but it is not enough. Opportunities may come, but without relentless work ethic, they will slip through your fingers. The truth is, success belongs to the disciplined, the tireless, the ones who refuse to quit when comfort calls. To rebuild yourself into someone unrecognizable, you must develop a work ethic so relentless that even when the world doubts you, your results silence them. The old you worked in bursts. A spark of motivation would hit. You'd grind for a few days, then fade back into old patterns. That inconsistency was weakness, disguised as effort, because anyone can work when they feel like it. Relentless work ethic means showing up even when you don't. It means doing the hard thing not once, but every single day, until it becomes second nature. Understand this. Effort is currency. Every hour you waste is a withdrawal from your future. Every disciplined hour you invest is a deposit into your destiny. Most people live broke in this sense, constantly overdrawing on their time, promising themselves they'll pay it back tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes. The relentless understand this truth, and that's why they work like today is all they have. Work ethic is not glamorous. It's repetition. It's grinding in silence when no one is watching. It's showing up for practice long after others have quit. It's doing the small, boring, unsexy tasks that stack into greatness. The old you wanted shortcuts. The new you understands that the only shortcut is refusing to quit. And yes, it will be exhausting. That's the point. Hard work strips away excuses. Fatigue tests your commitment. Discomfort reveals whether you are serious. Most people stop at the first sign of difficulty, but if you push one step further each time, you build an endurance that makes you unstoppable. Never let feelings dictate your effort. The old you worked when motivated. The new you works regardless. Motivation fades. Discipline remains. The relentless are not fueled by mood. They are fueled by mission. They don't ask, "Do I feel like it?" They say, "This must be done." This level of work ethic requires obsession, not unhealthy imbalance, but a burning commitment to improvement. The relentless see every day as an opportunity to sharpen, to learn, to grow. They are never satisfied, never comfortable, never finished. And because of that hunger, they outlast everyone else. Understand the math. If you work consistently while others drift, the gap between you multiplies. One day of slacking feels small, but stack years of discipline against years of excuses, and the difference is astronomical. That's why relentless work ethic is the ultimate competitive edge. It compounds. But relentless does not mean reckless. The new you understands the difference between exhaustion and execution. You rest to recover, not to escape. You recharge with intention, not with distraction. Every moment of rest serves the mission. It never replaces it. Make your work ethic your identity. You are no longer someone who tries. You are someone who executes. You are no longer someone who hopes. You are someone who produces. Others may have more talent, but talent without consistency fades. Your relentless drive ensures that while others quit, you remain. So embrace the grind, love the process, outwork your doubts, outlast your fears, and outdiscipline your excuses. The old you worked when it was convenient. The new you works because it is who you are. Every person you admire has felt the weight of quitting. Every champion has stood at the edge of exhaustion, telling themselves it would be easier to stop. The difference is simple. Losers listen to that voice. Winners do not. If you are serious about destroying the old you and building the strongest version of yourself, you must adopt the mindset of those who never quit. Because persistence is not a trait. It is a decision you make, over and over, until giving up is no longer an option. The old you treated quitting as normal. You'd start a project, hit resistance, then stop. You'd chase a goal, get discouraged, then pivot to something easier. Each time you quit, you trained your brain to expect escape routes. And so, quitting became habit. But habits can be replaced. The new you must build a different reflex. When things get hard, you push harder. When progress is slow, you double your patience. When doubt screams, you silence it with action. Understand this. Quitting is not neutral. It doesn't just pause your progress, it reverses it. Every time you stop, you lose momentum, confidence, and belief in yourself. Persistence, on the other hand, multiplies. Each time you endure, you grow tougher. Each time you press forward, you prove to yourself that you can. And proof becomes belief, and belief becomes identity. Those who never quit see failure differently. Failure is not the end. It is feedback. It tells you what to adjust. Not that you should abandon the mission. The old you feared failure like fire. The new you uses it as fuel. You don't crumble at mistakes. You analyze, adapt, and keep moving forward. That's the difference between temporary setback and permanent defeat. Persistence requires burning the bridges behind you. If you leave yourself an escape plan, you will take it. But if you commit fully, if you remove the option of quitting, your only choice is to fight until you win. That level of commitment is rare. That's why so few succeed. And yes, persistence hurts. There will be nights of doubt, mornings of exhaustion, weeks where progress feels invisible. But the ones who refuse to quit understand that pain is temporary and results are permanent. They accept the price because they know the reward is greater than the suffering. The old you looked for shortcuts. The new you embraces the long road, because what lasts is not built overnight. Muscles take time to grow. Skills take years to master. Confidence takes repetition to forge. If you quit because it's slow, you guarantee it will never arrive. If you endure, you guarantee progress, even if it crawls. You must become obsessed with forward motion. No matter how small the step, it is still movement. Even crawling is progress, as long as it's in the right direction. Most people stop because they measure speed instead of consistency. But greatness doesn't demand speed. It demands persistence. Remind yourself daily, persistence is power. The most dangerous person is not the most talented, not the most gifted, but the one who refuses to stop. You cannot defeat someone who won't quit, and that must become you. The one who endures longer than anyone else. The one who turns obstacles into fuel. The one who doesn't know the meaning of surrender. So the next time you feel the weight of quitting pressing down, recognize it for what it is, the old you begging to survive, and then answer with defiance. Refuse to give it life. Push forward anyway, because the new you is unbreakable. The new you never quits. The old you is gone. The doubt, the excuses, the distractions, they no longer have a home inside you. What stands in their place is a version of yourself forged in solitude, sharpened by discipline, and tested by fire. But transformation is not a single moment of glory. It is the daily act of living as the person you have decided to become. This final stage is about embodying the new you fully, permanently, relentlessly, until there is no return to the weaker self you buried. The old you lived by hesitation. The new you lives by execution. There is no more waiting for permission, no more bargaining with laziness, no more negotiating with fear. Your days are aligned with your mission. Your habits are consistent with your vision, and your identity is rebuilt around strength. You do not try anymore. You do. You do not hope anymore. You build. To lock in this transformation, you must guard it like treasure. Negative influences will try to sneak back. Old temptations will test you. People will question you, but none of them matter if you remain ruthless with your boundaries. Protect your focus. Protect your energy. Protect your standards. You did not come this far to collapse back into mediocrity. The new you is not defined by perfection, but by persistence. You will stumble. You will face setbacks. But quitting is no longer an option. You have burned that bridge. When obstacles rise, you respond with discipline, not despair. When fear whispers, you answer with courage. When fatigue pulls at you, you push anyway. That is who you are now. And understand this. Transformation is infinite. There is no finish line. Every day is a new opportunity to sharpen, to evolve, to level up. The old you chased comfort. The new you craves growth. The old you sought validation. The new you validates yourself. The old you avoided challenge. The new you hunts it. Identity is not what you say. It is what you prove over and over, until even your own doubts cannot argue against it. Each disciplined choice is evidence. Each moment of control is proof. Each sacrifice is a declaration. The old me is dead. The new me is alive. So carry yourself differently. Walk with focus. Speak with clarity. Move with intent. You are no longer the version of yourself that needed rescuing. You are the version who leads, who builds, who inspires, without even trying. Others may not recognize the depth of your transformation right away. Let them doubt. Let them wonder. Your results will speak louder than your explanations ever could. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of your greatness. You are not finished. You are just getting started. Every action from this moment forward is a chance to prove, again and again, that the old you is gone forever and the new you is unstoppable. You've walked through fire. You've stripped away the layers of weakness, torn down the excuses, and stood face to face with the parts of yourself that once held you back. And now, here you are, different, sharper, stronger. But this isn't a finish line. It's a continuation. Transformation does not end when you declare victory. It endures through the quiet, daily choices that stack into greatness. Slow your breathing for a moment. Let yourself feel the weight of what you've done. This isn't about hype or noise. It's about recognition, the awareness that you chose to do what most people avoid. You confronted the uncomfortable. You embraced solitude. You endured pain. You built discipline when it was easier to quit. And those choices carved a new self into existence. The old you is gone, but the echoes will sometimes try to return. That voice may whisper, "Rest longer, ease up, you've done enough." When it comes, you'll know it for what it is, a ghost of who you used to be. And you'll remember the battles you've already won, the strength you've already proven, and you'll press forward. Because the new you does not bow to ghosts. Carry this identity into every room you enter. Let your presence speak of resilience. Let your actions prove your discipline, and let your results define your path. You don't need to explain yourself. You only need to live the truth you've built. From here on, you are no longer seeking change. You are change. You are no longer chasing strength. You are strength. And every step you take is evidence that reinvention is possible, that no past is too heavy, and that no obstacle is too great. This is your life. This is your proof. This is your new you.